Hi, my name is Lulu. I'm a compulsive overeater, and we're here discussing the fourth step. And so far we've done the resentment list, the causes, how it affects me, my fears involved in these resentments, my self-seeking behaviors, the things I do to make myself feel better when I'm experiencing this, my selfishness. I want this now. I want this to happen because then I will fill in the blank. Then I'll be happy. Then I'll be okay. Then I won't, I'll feel good about myself. Then I'll be safe. Then I'll have money, however it works out. That if this wasn't actually happening, how that would work out for you. So we worked with an example. We've been working with an example, and that example should be on the website by now. It's going to be posted in stages of the work. So last week we talked about the lies that we tell ourselves. So the dishonesty part. What am I telling myself? What are the lies I'm telling myself? And we jotted all those lies down. So what I went through as an example. Now I am not this person. I wasn't there. So all I did was just kind of take a guess. Turns out I was told I was 90% accurate. I just know addicts. Let me just tell you, know why I know addicts? Because I'm one. So I just kind of put myself in the situation, and so this is like a skill that you will acquire after you do this repetitiously. Then you bring the same practice into step 10, and you'll just find your own truths. You don't need somebody else. It's like you can do it between you and God. Once you can actually get to a point, you just do it in your head. You're just like, oh, there I was about to lie to myself. And then you just like see the truth. I mean, I know those of us in program that are working a good program of recovery, we all we find ourselves like, oh, I was just going to do that. And I was just like, nope, that was not cool. Not doing that. And you just kind of, you turn yourself around. And, but a lot of times with deep resentments, it's really hard to see the truth. So you do the best you can to come up with the truth. And then during the fifth step, the beauty of having a sponsor and somebody that knows you really well, somebody that knows addicts very well, and somebody that knows this process very well, can help you even deepen that truth. So I find that when step 4s are being brought to me as a sponsor, when it's brought to me through step 5 is when it's shared with me. And then what I do is I don't say, oh, well, they just told me that, so that's good. You know, you had to share it with somebody else. I actually I actually give feedback on each one. And I like to see, ask, just most of the time it's questions like, are you sure about this? And what about this? Does this seem true? Does this seem true? Just to kind of get even deeper and deeper into the truth. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to just show you like what I just came up with as the truth. And this screen sharing will probably not be on the video, but it will be on an attachment on the website, probably just right below it. The dishonesty. It would probably be in PDF. Okay, so I'm going to share screen. Okay. Can everybody see that okay? The people that are here? Yes? Okay. All right, so if we remember this one, he's resentful at Bob, poor treatment of direct reports and others, openly stole my ideas at work, eliminated my position, fired me, politically inflated sense of own importance, inability to handle any criticism, monopolized conversations, belittle or look down on people he perceived as inferior, took advantage of others to get what he wants, and while belittling others, becomes impatient or angry when he did not receive special treatment, has significant interpersonal problems, and easily feels slighted. So that's Bob. Okay. So of course, anybody that had this person in their lives would be like, yep, I want him to just go away, right? So he determined what if it affects his self-esteem, his pride, his ambition, security, personal relations, pocketbook, fear, he just not having control over Bob, losing what he had, a fear of losing what I have. I'm going to lose my job, not getting what I need. I need you to listen. I need you to be different, not being good enough. I mean, anybody would have that fear that had just been terminated. So the self-seeking, so he's been judging himself, he's been judging others, he attacked verbally, and he defends himself. Okay, so this is and when he's doing these things, he's just feeling a little bit better. Eating would be on that list. If you were eating, that would make me eat if I was eating. Okay, so selfishly, he said, I want Bob to start treating people poorly, respect and engage with others, and not have orchestrated my position being eliminated, because then I would still be employed and I would be working with someone who is respectful and treats people well. That's what he wants, and he wants it now. Okay, so now these are the dishonesties that that he came up with last week, and we typed them all out, and we were going to wait till this week to go through them. So let me just say, really good, there's not a cheat sheet on this, but it's just like, questions you can ask yourself to come up with the truth. You can ask yourself, is it really true? Like, is it really, really, really true? Okay. Have I ever done it myself? Have I ever done these things myself? You know, what does God think of this person? And if I was more like God, if I was acting on God's behalf, if I wanted to, if my job is to stay connected with God and be more like God every day, all the good qualities of God, my heart would probably be processing this a little bit different. So I might want to look at where I may. So see, like where it says in the big book, how we want to look at it from a new angle. So the new angle is like, you know, is it true? And if it is true, like, why can't he just be who he is? Like, why do I need him to be this person to be different? Like, sometimes it just, when you start to unravel, it doesn't make any sense. So the first one is he tells himself that he was mistreated. So every sentence is going to start, the lies start with, I'm telling myself, because this is what I'm telling myself. And the other sentences are going to start with the word deny, because you really have to feel that what you've been not seeing the truth is something that you've been denying yourself. It's something you've been denying yourself. Okay. And you can invite the truth in instead of denying it. Okay. So deny that sometimes people mistreat people. And the way Bob treats people is between him and God. The way I treat people is between me and God. I might, at this point, I might want to look and say, like, here it is. Deny, where have I mistreated people in my entire lifetime? Anybody ever? You could probably find it. So it's kind of like, am I just like Bob? Is Bob just like me? Like, do we just mistreat people sometimes? Deny, sometimes things feel like mistreatment, but when you know God's in charge and directs all things, then I can instead feel royal treatment in all my affairs from God, the treatment that matters most. So it's kind of like, do I drive down the street, get a flat tire, and think, life is screwing me today, life is screwing me today, okay? Or can I sit and say, am I being mistreated by God today? Like, is he just like screwing me over today? Or did I just get the royal treatment? I was just stopped in my tracks with this flat tire for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe this AAA guy that's coming, it's somebody that's supposed to cross my path that day. You know, things like that. So, so I tell myself I was lied to. Okay, so we already said that Bob was a liar. So deny, Bob may be a liar. And if he is, liars lie, right? Liars lie. Deny Bob didn't lie to me, Bob lied. If I take off the to me, then it's not quite so personal. And I can just see that Bob may feel the need to lie sometimes because liars lie. Oh, that saved me. That saved me from, I remember I was all twisted out about somebody that lied to me. Oh my God, to me? You lied to me? And it's just like, it was like, I remember my sponsor said, have you, he was really doing nothing more than just saving his own ass, you know? And I was like, I know. And then she's like, did you ever lie to save your own ass? In your whole 60 plus years on this earth, have you ever told a lie to save your ass? And I was like, well, where do I begin? Anyway, so deny that have I lied in my lifetime to anyone ever? So I know that it's sometimes good people lie sometimes, you know? I mean, I don't think I'm a bad person. It's just like I found that as a tool. You know? I don't anymore because I have a program that teaches me how to process things differently and how to not have myself in situations where I need to lie. So I'm grateful for that. I don't have to hate Bob for it. I can just be grateful that I have that. Deny Bob's lies are between him and God. My lies are between me and God. The only thing that's my business is my own lying. Just want to keep my eyes on my own plate. Deny that I'm lying to myself if I say that people shouldn't lie because I have no control over people's dishonesty. So he lied. Okay. What are you going to do with that? You know, what are you going to do with that? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? You know, I tell myself I was carrying the business on the bottom line performance. That's awfully grandiose statement. Carrying a whole company. Yay. Deny I was not carrying the business because if I was, the business would have folded without me. It looked like it was tanking, but it has revived. I added that because that's what you told me. That's what you told me, right? I don't want to say your name. So it's like, it was like, this whole place is going to fold without me. And it's kind of like, well, it was looking like that was happening, but then it really didn't. It's like, so deny God wants me to take that passion of feeling like I'm carrying a business. I'm carrying a business and carry his business in a meaningful, beautiful way. God is showing me stuff like humility. God wants me to pat myself on the back less and pat others on the back more. That was just what I came up with. If I'm saying a statement like that, like I am carrying, I can remember working for the business that I was in for 40 years. When I was back at the beginning, I was in my 20s. And I remember thinking like, I am like the best one in this department. I am the best. Like, what would ever happen to this place if I left? Like this place, this department would just be like down the crapper, right? I just thought like, I'm just it, And then like, I left and they weren't all crying. They threw me a party and gave me a gift and I left and that firm did perfect without me. And then I went to another, but and then little by little, it's just kind of like, something, this is really what life is all about. Like, I'm just here doing my job. And if I excel at it, and I'm giving the company like my all, that's between me and God. That's about my integrity and it's about my work ethic, So I stopped comparing myself right at the end of my career, which was just last June. I retired, but at the end of my career, oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. It was something about my work ethic, just saying that like, my work ethic was really important to me. And I was so able to just let everybody do it. Like, I don't care if I'm doing more work than you. I don't care if I'm always on time and you're always late. Like, I don't care if you take long lunch hours and I don't. I don't care if you're on the phone personal calls all day and I'm not. Like, I don't care what you are doing. I care what I am doing. The employee that I want to be is the employee that's going to show up there. And that whole mindset changed when I did this work. And I started unraveling a bunch of junk from my life. And I was so able to see that, like, I am dispensable. Um, uh, and and the only work ethic that's my business is mine. And so that was very helpful for me. Tell myself my revenue projections were honest and true. Deny being honest and true is between me and God, so there's no problem here whatsoever. Yeah, if you know you were honest and true, that's great. Whether people believe you or not, people are exposed to liars. People, so it's like, and people don't always believe everything. So who knows? But I always know, like today, if I know something is honest and true, it would be really helpful if you could see that too, because maybe there wouldn't be this misunderstanding. But I know it, and it brings me freedom and between me and God. Deny God loves when I'm honest and true, whether Bob even realizes it, and that's up to Bob, not in my control. Bob has his own opinion about the revenue projections and has his own ideas about whether I'm honest and true. And Bob gets to have an opinion. Everybody else gets to have an opinion that does not does not line up with mine. The minute that you can let go of other people having to see things your way. I mean, this was the point that my sponsor said to me. She said, Lulu, close your eyes for a minute. So I closed my eyes. She goes, I want you to imagine every person that you meet, everybody you come in contact with all day, every day, is just like you. They have the same opinions as you. They talk like you. They act like you. They have the same, they do everything like you, and they think everything like you. And I just thought, like, oh dear Lord, that would be quite a sick world. And I thought, this is why everyone is different. It makes us all really interesting. Everybody is just different. So when somebody's doing something objectionable, first of all, another thing my sponsor said is you can do these turnarounds for somebody else in your head. Bob is lying. Why is he lying? How is he affected? What are his fears? What is his self-seeking behavior, right? When you really think about that, what does he want? I want you to blah, 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 blah right now, or I'm going to fire you, because then I'll feel okay and I won't feel like I have competition or whatever was going on. Do you know what I'm saying though? Like, you can actually put yourself in that other person's spot and you can kind of unravel why they're doing things once you understand yourself better, easier, tell myself I did exactly what was asked to do and I exceeded expectations. Deny that employees don't exceed expectations and then get fired. And that maybe Bob's issues with me as an employee had less to do with my performance and more to do with my character. There's a lot. This was another thing I learned at the workplace in all those years. It's like, there are people that I worked with very, very knowledgeable and skillful at their job. But man, if you can't get along with people, or you're in the office gossip, or there's just some things, those work ethic things that just you start clashing with people. It doesn't matter how good you are. You know what I mean? So I just invited him to consider that if it's actually true that the expectations that you exceeded your expectations, it seems like, well, who would just fire somebody that is just like shining? Just I invite him to see where maybe he wasn't shining very brightly in other areas in his character. So I tell myself that the employees knew I was a good person because all the employees who knew about this stopped working and wanted an explanation. Deny how wonderful it is that all of those employees to know that they know I'm a good person, and I can bask in the glory that most people know in there that I'm a good person. Maybe not the one that counts, but that's these employees were probably not the people that you were clashing with. It was probably the other people you were clashing with that maybe resulted in the termination. Deny that other employees' experiences with me and my character was likely a different experience than with Bob, the man I conflicted with. Possible. Tell myself if they had worked the plan I proposed instead of their inflated forecast, they would not be laying people off today. Deny I'm not in charge of the final decisions, so I propose and they go with it or not. I think my job was to propose, but then it was other people's final decisions. So you just really just doing your job. Deny if I was powerful enough to save the company and save people from getting laid off, then I wouldn't have been fired. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Somebody that can save a company and save everybody from getting laid off. Deny I can't see the future, only God can. God is in control. So I truly do not know if I could have single-handedly avoided the company layoffs. And I don't need to inflate my ego by believing I am that powerful, that I could have interfered with God's plan, which is exactly how it all went down. Just some things to consider, right? Tell myself that Bob was only interested in his next promotion and self-image in the corporation. Deny Bob has his own ego to stroke, and as do I, and Bob's inflated ego is between him and God, and my inflated ego is between me and God. So really right here, I'm just saying like, all right, what needs work here? Bob? Nope, me. I want to deflate my ego. How can I deflate my ego so I can get along better with people? And then when I'm watching somebody else with an inflated ego, I just say, well, of course, they probably have some fear. And that's what people do. They're just looking to have their ego stroked or whatever. Deny Bob may not feel good enough unless he gets the next promotion and has a polished self-image. I can relate to Bob because I don't feel good enough unless you all think I'm great. So with what I propose, tell me I'm amazing when I save the company. So Bob and I are the same. So when it all comes down to it, it seems like Bob and this person here is kind of, they are alike in a lot of ways. You know, they're conflicting with the whole power, promotion, ego, you know, who's going to do the next best thing for the company and who's going to rock it, who's going to come out the star. And I don't know, where I shine the brightest is wherever God is. That's where I shine the brightest. So when you bring God into this stuff, and you always think like, you know, what would God have me be right now in this situation? That's where you kind of pick up some kindness and compassion. Tell myself that Bob unconsciously hurts the people he works with. And I was like, Deny God loves Bob and loves the fact that he doesn't hurt people on purpose. I mean, how nice is that? Some people consciously hurt people they work with, but to actually see that he's unconsciously hurting people he works with, you know, God has a plan for Bob and for those that Bob unintentionally hurts, because those people that hurt, that are hurt by Bob, there's people hurt by me, there's people hurt by you. You know, it's who I'm hurting is between me and God. And then I have a program, so I get the opportunity to, if I hurt somebody, to self-reflect and to make amends to that person. But as I'm always reminded by my sponsor, the whole world isn't full of people doing turnarounds on their behavior. You know, most people are not doing that. They're right. Even people that aren't addicts, people, it's still, just because you're not an addict doesn't mean that you're not in fear of things, and you have ego, you know? So I have to be reminded that I am, and I don't look at people that don't have a program and say, oh, you know, it's just too bad you don't have a program like me. You'd see how you were wrong, you know? No, 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 no. We don't go there. It's kind of like that spiritually sick thing. I overdid that one. I overdid that. In the big book where it says, perhaps they were spiritually sick. So like all my turnarounds were like, I would be like, Bob is spiritually sick. Here it is. Bob is a liar. That's because he's spiritually sick. And it's just like everybody was spiritually sick, which made me right. Okay. It's just like, so my sponsor was like, guess what? Like, you're not allowed to use that anymore. I don't want to see that in turnarounds anymore. We're not blaming anybody's, you know, you're taking everybody's spiritual temperature, you know? It's like, you can stop doing that. Anyway, I think that was and then I came up with a few other ones that I'll share with you, but then there's other things that I'll save that are more about a step 5 thing. But these were some, maybe I just proposed to him, like maybe these were other lies that you were telling yourself and what the truth could possibly be. Tell myself that Bob is so powerful that he could wreck God's plan. For me, it should probably say for me, like, you know, that now he's moving on to another job. And it's just like, one of these days, it's just going to work out so perfectly. And you're going to be like, geez, that was the plan the whole time. And I was all up in a bunch, you know, I can't even think of the words. Just all excited about being such a victim. So I deny God calls all the shots. He's more powerful than me and Bob. So if we just go with the flow, the more we can go with the flow, and really see life as God's plan. Why am I going here? Why did this happen today? It's just, I always say life is like a series of situations. You know, you might be waiting for that situation to go away, but don't wish it away too quick, because there's just another one right around the corner. I'm telling you, right? They're always right around the corner. There's another situation. And life is just a series of situations. What the heck would we do with ourselves if we didn't have situations to handle, to feel things, to see how deeply we love, or to give us a check to see that our ego needs a little readjusting, or it's just a character building. They're character building events is what I call them. I'm probably repeating myself here, but it's not like I don't believe life is a school and God's given us lessons every day. I just believe we're getting opportunities every day, and they're all a gift. They're opportunities to build character. It's like, what do you got? Am I going to build character through this, or am I going to tear it down? Am I going to be a big baby? Am I going to start whining, complaining, yelling, nagging, demanding, getting revenge and judging and gossiping? Am I going to do all that stuff, or am I going to character build myself? You know, so it's like, we do have choices, especially when we have these tools. I tell myself that what is happening shouldn't be happening. Deny God has a purpose for every situation to be exactly this way, by perfect design. I could be used in this situation to build my character rather than sitting in anger. Much more productive use of time. Tell myself I can't be happy and content until I get to the bottom of this, that everybody agrees with me that I was right, that everybody sees that I was unjustly fired, and that this all should have played out differently. I wrote, deny, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Deny, do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? I mean, you can spend your whole life trying to be right, and it's just like, it's a big job. It's a big job to be right. Denying God's grace, I don't have to be right. I can trust that however it goes down is in God's plan, and that the only upset that I feel is when I try to fight against it and feel like a victim. That's not walking along with God, in my opinion. Tell myself that this whole situation and the firing just came out of left field. boom, all of a sudden he tells me I'm fired. This is unfair, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to say that I'll deny that it was brewing. And I was so focused on how fabulous my contribution to the company was that I wasn't paying attention to what I was either doing, saying, or thinking that was so off-putting. Just something to look at, you know? So this is, there's more down here. I'm going to save that for, that's more about for like the step 5 work. So this would be, if you just think, after I tell myself this, and this, and the lies feel like the truth. They feel like the truth. I'm carrying this business, you know? My projections were honest and true. He lied to me. I was mistreated. So they don't, with a little bit of unraveling, they have a little less power. They have a little less truth to them. We just want to see the things that we've denied ourselves, the different angle that we can look at it. We can say, you know, how did I keep this ball rolling, get the ball rolling, or keep it rolling? What was my contribution to this? If I'm mistreated, what was I doing that made somebody mistreat me? Like, if I'm seeing somebody mistreat me, I'm thinking, why am I somebody that they want to mistreat? What am I doing? Maybe yesterday or last month or over the past year that I'm not even aware of that is making somebody mistreat me when I'm seeing them really not mistreating others as much. Unless they're mistreating everyone, then you'd be like, well, he mistreats people. Just like the liar. Sometimes if people tend to lie, sometimes they're lying to a lot of different people. So it's not even personal if they habitually lie. So if I'm mistreated, it's like that example I gave about somebody telling me that I was smug. I don't know if anybody remembers that example. So I was having a conversation with my sister-in-law, and she said, well, aren't you smug? This was a text conversation. And if the minute I saw it, I thought to myself, oh, excuse me, you know, you're calling me smug. And then I was just like, what does that really even mean anyway? So I was like, I want to know what I'm being called, instead of texting her back going like, oh yeah, well, you're this, you know? And so I'd like to, if somebody refers to me as something and calls me a name or says, you're being this or you're being that, today, with the gift of this program, I don't have to be afraid when I hear that. I can just take it as useful information that might be something I need to hear. I just need the truth. The truth. I'm telling myself that she's calling me smug. Well, what's the truth? Well, let me look it up in the dictionary, because I was hoping to find some really nice complimentary definition of smug that it was me. And I would be like, oh, she's right. But it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It's like kind of like a boost of self-importance is what it is. So I looked at the conversation that we had, and I found it. I found where I was being smug. She said, I'm going to get my flu shot, and then I'm going to get this other flu shot, and then I'm getting the something shot, all these like vaccinations and stuff. And then I said, oh, I've never had a flu shot. And she said, well, aren't you smug? And I thought, smug? And then I thought, basically, she's at high risk health-wise. So she's going to get these flu shots. I've never had a flu shot. Did she say, I got my flu shot, did you get your flu shot? Right? She didn't say that, because then I would have said, no, I could have just said, no, I didn't. I don't get them. But she didn't even ask me. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of priding myself, I think. Without even realizing it, I was priding myself, maybe an ego thing, that I don't need a flu shot because I'm so healthy, because I'm abstinent and I'm at a healthy weight and I don't have any health issues and I'm just wonderful. You know, that's, I didn't feel like that. But when I looked at it closely, I could see what she was saying. Did I harm her by saying that? No. I didn't say, oh, you're a sick mess. That's why you get one. I don't need them. That would have been something I would have been harmful and I would have made an apology for. But I just saw my character defect of smug. And no, now my job is to take that with me as useful information to say, I'm going to watch, like when I do something like that, like she didn't ask me. So she was right. So it was, to me, it's very useful information. And I just pray to God, God, help me to not be smug, right? So, but then another situation that's similar, but with a different outcome was I was hiking with somebody that we were climbing up this rock and he needed to keep resting and I don't need to rest because I'm Wonder Woman, I guess. I don't know. I just don't need to rest. I'm really fit. Okay. So I'm not resting. But I'm just resting with him. Like he needs to rest. I'm not like, oh, okay, I'll rest with you. I don't need to, but I will. I'm not that bad. Okay. So I just would rest, would talk, and I would know that he needed to rest. But then when we got to the top of the mountain, there was this really steep rock and I knew the only way I was going to get up it is if I ran up it. Like I wasn't going to go up this rock slow. I needed to run up it. So I started running, boop, 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 5 or 6 steps. And I got to the top and he said, oh, you're a show off. And I thought to myself, oh, okay. So just like this whole smug thing, I said, I'm going to take a look at this later. And I thought to myself, I was not showing off. I was running to get to the top. So that's where, just because somebody says something to me and calls me something, doesn't mean it's true. But I just have so much practice on finding the truth between my own 4th step and all the 4th steps that I'm invited to go through and pick apart. And I get right in people's situations and I can feel it. I was just, a show off is not what I was that day. There is no way I would agree with that. I did not have to take that to my steps 6 and 7 and say, God, help me to not be a show off. I was not showing off. You see, that was about his fear of I'm running up the hill and he can't do what I can do. It was his own inferiority feelings, okay, that have nothing to do with me. So I just gave you those 2 examples to show you, like, well, first of all, no matter how much work you do in this program, you know, you're not going to come out perfect, right? I'm not perfect. This was about like maybe a year ago, you know, and I'm on the other side of the process a long time, and there I was being smug, right? No, I just love me, even when I'm smug, because it just reminds me, you know, you know, there are just some things that we all have our things to work on. I don't have to hate myself for it. It gives me things to look out for that are about me, that are not you. You might be somebody that yells at people and you're like, at the end, after you do it, you're like, oh, I said I wasn't going to yell and there I did it again. Well, that's what you got to work on. See, that's not what I struggle with today. I don't struggle with yelling. I can't even remember the last time I yelled at someone. And but it doesn't mean like, oh, I don't yell, you yell. I'm more spiritually evolved. The minute I say I'm more spiritually evolved than fill in the blank, that means I need to go pray for some humility, because I'm not here to take anybody's spiritual temperature. We're all just perfectly imperfect. But if by finding these truths and then looking at the whole picture and just feeling just like the sting taken out of it all, you know, just the sting of it all, and just to find like the truth, it's just like, oh my God, like I'm okay. I'm okay. God bless him. God bless me. God bless everybody in this situation. We're all just doing the best we can here every freaking day, okay? then I can come up with my step 6 list. We'll talk about step 6 when those recordings come. And step 6 is, basically, it's like the fear and the self-seeking. It's all these kind of, we start to look for patterns, because we just have this one. But if this person was going to do this, the person who wrote this, if he was to do 50 resentments on people, places, and things that just bugs them, there would be patterns, just patterns throughout the whole thing. It starts with 1, and then with 2, and then with 3, and then you say like, oh, well, it looks like I'm always afraid of this. I'm always doing this. I'm always calling people this. I'm labeling people. I'm afraid of not having. I'm afraid of not being good enough. I'm afraid of not being good enough. I'm afraid of not. It's like if it comes up in all of them, it's like you just see where it's you, because like the common denominator in all of this and all of these turnarounds that we do, these 4-step writing things that we do, is ourself, is us. So it's like me with the world. This is me in relationships, in all relations, as I relate to people. This is me. And when you start to see the patterns, you see where you, now in my writing, I don't, like, smugness really never came up. I would say that that's probably right there with like ego and self-esteem, maybe, but when that came up, I was like, I'm ready. Just say it, and it's either true or it's not. If it's true, then it's useful information to me. If it's not true, it's useful information to me, and it's like, it's okay, So, some of these can get really tricky, especially when the person on your list is not a coworker or a boss or your neighbor. If it's your mom and dad, sister, brother, husband, somebody that violated you when you were young, somebody that hurt you when you were young. Obviously, we're not going to find where they were wrong, but we can find where why I keep carrying it. There's something in it for me if I'm going to keep carrying it for my whole life, everywhere I go, in a little bag. And it might be because I use it as an excuse, but every way in which that I'm not successful, I'll use it. Well, if that didn't happen to me, then today I would be successful. I wouldn't be fat. I wouldn't be, we can just use that to blame a lot of things on. And also, to use it as an excuse, and to be a victim, to use it as a way to get pity and attention from people. And I don't mean to minimize anybody that was hurt in childhood or violated, but it's so important to look at that piece of it if that comes up in your 4th step. I do a lot of 4th steps with people, and it actually, 5th steps. It surprises me how often, more often, that is the case than it isn't. Yeah, sad, but it's true. But I had to, and I don't have experience with that in my past. So I needed to really sit with my sponsor and really learn about it with her experience with working with zillions of people over the past 30 years, and just with help on that, because I just want to hug everybody and say, it's so terrible that happened to you. But the point of this is to just move into a different space, move into a different space, and use it for the other people's benefit. We don't regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. How can my past benefit you? I just know that my past misery with food addiction has actually turned out to be quite a blessing and has helped a lot of people. So that's how God works, So, I invite people that have, experiences from their past, to In this program, you'll find all people that you can relate to in all different ways. You know that you have a lot of things in common and how other people work through things, and it's just a great program.